Hi all, going to go back to the balance beam to start off with for today's lesson. Now in today's lesson you are going to see that we're going to work with unknowns on both sides. So it's really important that we go back to that method that I've shown you already and are using that method. It gets trickier and trickier. Now we're at that part where it gets almost impossible to do by substitution. So we've got to make sure we have a good method. Now, first things first, when I look at this one, I've got two x's on my one side and a 3 kilogram weight, and an x and a 10 kilogram weight. So I've got 2x add 3 and x add 10. So when I look at this, first of all, when I solve equations, I've always been trying to get the x's on the one side and the numbers on the other side. So I'm trying to make all the numbers to the left hand side disappear and all the letters that are on the right hand side disappear from that side. So we want to get x's one side, numbers other side. So if I make that 3 kilogram weight disappear, to make sure it's going to balance on my scales, I need to take away 3 on the other side. So I now would have 2x is equal to x add 7. Now I've got 2 x's on the one side and x add 7 on the other. Now remember, we need to make sure that we are just getting numbers on the one side and letters on the other side. So I need to make that x disappear from the right hand side, and I do that by taking it away. If I take it away from that side, I've got to make sure that I take it away from the left-hand side. So you're left with there, x equals 7. Good thing about this question, no need to do any division. That would be your answer. Another one. All right, this time, you've got 4 x's and 7, and you've got 2 x's and 21. So when I look at this question, I need to make sure that that 7 kilogram weight disappears from the left-hand side. If that disappears from the left-hand side, got to make sure that 7 kilograms disappears from the right hand side to make it balance. So when I rewrite this, I've got 4x equals 2x plus 14. Now I've got 2 x's on the right hand side. I don't want those 2 x's on the right hand side. I want to make sure that they disappear. So I am going to take those away from there. Now if I take them away from that side, I've got to make sure I take them away from the left hand side. So when I rewrite that, I now have 2 x's of 14. Now, that 14 kilograms has to be distributed equally amongst those x boxes. So, in each of those, I have to split the 14 in half. So I have to divide it into 2. So when I divide 14 by 2, x makes it as 7. So it's all about the method. Everything we've talked about so far, solving equations, has always been about the method. So exactly the same now. Now we're going to introduce the grid like we were doing in the lessons last time. So I write the equation at the top of my grid, and then I think, right, what do I want to do first? There are add and taken away parts. I need to make sure I am dealing with my add or take away parts first. So I want to make this add 4 part disappear. To make that add 4 part disappear, I need to subtract 4. If I subtract 4 from that side, because I'm balancing all the time, I subtract 4 from the other side. So it's always about the inverse operation. So I know when I rewrite that underneath, when I take the 4 away from the left-hand side, I'm just left with 10k. If I take 4 away from the right-hand side, I'm only taking a 4 away from the number, so I've got 6k, add 24. So I've rewritten that next line. Now, next steps, I need to get rid of the 6k. The 6k needs to disappear from there because I need to have just k's on my left hand side. So to make that 6k disappear, I need to take it away. If I take the 6k away from the right hand side, I take away 6k away from the left hand side. So when I do 10k take away 6k, I get 4k. And if I take 6k away from 6k, I'm just left with a 24 part. Now we're at a nice single step here. So I've got 4k equals 24. So 4 times a number is equal to 24. I know many of you could do this probably in your head. However, making sure we do it using the proper methods, showing the examiner exactly what we need to see. We need to divide it by 4 to make the multiply by 4 disappear. So when I divide the one side by 4, I need to do exactly the same to the other side. So I'm left with k equals 6. It's all about the method. Getting those steps written down. In an exam, 3 marks. You'd have a mark for this line, a mark for this line, and then you would get a mark for your answer. All right, so all about the steps. So on to the next one. So when you look at one like this, if I'm writing it down by hand now, I first of all write down my equation. So the equation's written down. First steps, I am going to make sure that I deal with the add or take away part. So I want to make this 16 disappear. So I am going to take 16 away. If I do take 16 away from one side, I take 16 away from the other. So I know that these two are the inverses of each other. So you are left with 3x equals, and then I am just going to rewrite this with 19 being 16 less. So it's going to be 3 plus x. Now, I've got x's on this side and x's on this side. I want to make sure that I am just left with a single x there on the left-hand side. So to get rid of this x on the right-hand side, I need to take it away. If I take away x from the right-hand side, I take away an x from the left-hand side. So x, and I've got 3x there. I have 2x, and I know I have 3 there, because I take the x, take x away from x. Now, I need to make sure that I'm doing the right steps next. So they've got a multiply by 2 part here. So to get rid of a multiply by 2 part, I divide by 2. I make sure I divide by 2 the other side. Now, writing that down, I could write it down like this. X equals 3 divided by 2. And more often than not, if they see that, your examiner sees an answer written down like that, they will give you the marks. However, if I was doing it, I would simplify it, either be 1.5 or 1.5, just to finish it off. But you could leave it in this format here, and often they will give you the mark. All right. And one more, and then I'll leave you to have a go at some questions from the worksheets I've provided. So we would write down the equation straight away. My next step has to be, let's get rid of these numbers from this side. I have an add 9. What's the opposite of adding 9? Taking away 9. Take away 9. So I know these are going to disappear and leave just 3x. And it's going to be equal to, well, 19 take away 9 gives 10. And I know I have take away 2x. So when I look at this part over here, I've got to take away 2x this time. So to the opposite, the inverse of taking away 2x is adding 2x. So when I add 2x, I end up with adding 2x on the other side. I make sure I balance everything out. So I know that 3x add 2x gives me 5x. If I've got an add 2x and a take away 2x, it's going to disappear, and I am left with 10. Now again, I know many of you could do that by inspection, but remember, the opposite of timesing by 5 will be divided by 5. And then I remember to divide by 5 on the other side. So I'm going to write down x equals, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. All right. So I'm going to leave you to have a go at some from the worksheets I provided. All right. Good luck, and well, just try your best. All right. Thank you.